Hey, Tommy.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to see if my um, headset is working.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to share my screen here, see if you can see it.
Okay.
See. Okay, see the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yep. Looks good.
Okay, and then is it full screen now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Then let's try the other one. Can you see this one?
Yep. Looks good.
Yeah. This one, I'm not sure what to talk about. um,
Just kind of give a brief overview. Um, just highlight the new channelization, sidewalks, show where we're
yeah,
putting walls and tying into the
yeah,
proposed tie-ins for driveways, at least for now. That there's some the driveways are pretty preliminary at this point, but we'll also be working on kind of the final grading, especially on that east side.
yeah. Yeah, I think the location of the sidewalk, we can tell people that it's approximately where the open ditch are like right now. So I think all of the open ditch on the east side is gonna be filled in. Kind of give them an idea of where the new like sidewalk on the east side is going to be.
Sounds good.
Yep. It's gonna be really funny if nobody show up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, we've been kind of preparing like all of this for nothing.
Well, we'll have it recorded and we'll do the presentation anyways and let this
Yeah.
run. I think we'll have a couple. See.
Yeah, hopefully. I think at some point we might have to do this again for council. Kind of give them an update, just kind of twist the presentation a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have asked Bonnie if anybody had well, yeah, who had signed up.
Right.
Because she would have had that, huh?
Yeah.
But we'll find out in a minute.
Do you know if do we have this time slot like just like 1 hour or something like that?
Yeah, 6 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so if nobody shows up for a while, we'll just hang out and wait to see if we get anybody. And if not, I don't know, at 6:30, we'll give a presentation that can be recorded and then just hang out the rest of the time.
Yeah. Sounds good. Are you coming in tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. We got a couple things going on with meetings and stuff, but yeah, I
Cool.
think I should be able to come. Are we supposed to bring some sort of food or anything?
Yeah, I think everyone's bring just a dish and so a little gift for like gift exchange.
Okay, I'll figure that out. What's everybody
Yeah.
bringing for food?
I have no idea. I bought some just chips and some dip. So
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tommy Owen. I'm with the city. I'm going to give us a couple minutes more in case we have any stragglers before we start with a little presentation. So if you could just hold on for a few minutes, we'll get going. Okay, again, good evening, everyone. Don't want to keep people waiting too long with dinner time and all that. So I think we'll get started. Got a short PowerPoint presentation. Kai, do you want to bring that up for us?
Yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
All right, well, welcome everyone to the 24th Avenue South Improvements Project virtual open house. My name is Tommy Owen. I'm the project manager from the city. And Kyle, let you introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, my name is Kai. I'm the civil engineer for the city of Des Moines and working on this project as an assistant project manager.
Thanks, Kai. And then anybody else who'd like to introduce yourself, who's in the meeting tonight, feel free to at this time if you'd like. No pressure as well. All right. Unless anybody'd like to, we'll move on. I just want to let everybody know that this meeting is being recorded. We'll make it available at a later date if you'd like to view it again. So next slide, Kai. So a little bit about the 24th Avenue project. So back in 2011, with the help of Highline School District and the Des Moines Police Department, they produced a study to identify priority projects with the highest need to enhance safety near the elementary schools within the city. So this project along 24th was identified as the highest need for all the projects citywide. Some of the strategic needs for this project basically have to do with some of the existing conditions out there. As I'm sure most of you know, it's kind of a narrow roadway. There's open ditches, especially on the east side with not much shoulder for pedestrians. On the east side, there's really little to no pedestrian facilities at all. So it's important for the safety to get this project going. So the city, in light of that, we applied to the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board looking for some grant funding for this project. In 2019, we were selected for a $3.6 million grant to partially fund segment 2 of the 24th Avenue project. Together with our matching funds, that allowed us to fully fund this project in its entirety. So on to the project limits. What we're looking to do is do improvements from Kent Des Moines all the way up to 223rd. So that's shown in the red there. We've also identified a section on 224 that we may be looking to include in this project. We're kind of still in the preliminary phases of that. That's kind of more of a stormwater project that we're looking to potentially add to this project to realize the scale of economy to save some costs there for some needed stormwater work. So some of the proposed improvements along the 24th corridor in the project, we'd be widening 24th Avenue to include a two-way left turn lane and bike lanes. In addition to that, there'll be curb, gutter, and sidewalk on both sides of the roadway, as well as improving all the ADA, currently non-ADA curb ramps, bringing them up to ADA standards. The storm drainage system will be improved throughout the project. I know we've had some issues in the past with some flooding along this corridor, so hopefully this will alleviate some of those concerns. We'll also be doing some decorative street lighting. Right now, the proposal is to place the street lighting on the east side of 24th. And then hopefully you've noticed throughout the city, we've done some decorative street lighting in other locations, mostly the blue poles that you'll see throughout the city. And so we kind of want to mimic that. So it kind of identifies it as kind of the city of Des Moines decorative system. We'll also be enhancing pedestrian crossings near Midway Elementary and Pacific Middle Schools, and I'll come back to that in a minute here with some graphics we have. The Highline Water District will also be improving some existing facilities within the project limits. We're working on a partnership with them with an interlocal agreement so they can improve their facilities as part of the project. So as I just mentioned, this graphic is a proposal for the typical section of what you'll find out there when the project's complete. You'll see we've got curb, gutter, sidewalk on both sides of the roadway. We're relocating, PSC will be relocating a majority of their aerial facilities to the west side of 24th Avenue. There will also be a few service poles on the east side that PSC will still need to maintain. You can see the blue decorative street lighting there as well. And then behind that street lighting, you also see we've shown in this graphic some walls. We'll be needing to construct some walls, especially on the east side of the roadway, to basically squeeze all this within the right of way. And then let's see what else we got. We've got bike lanes and the two-way left turn lane. So that should be helpful. So on to the pedestrian crossings. As you're looking right now, this is the existing condition for the crossing there at the south end of the elementary school. So this crossing specifically will be improved, as well as the crossing, the mid-block crossing just to the north of there. This is a rendering of what that future crosswalk will look like. As you'll see, we'll have overhead signage for the crossing. You can see the new sidewalk, ADA curb ramps. And then one other thing that's not shown in this as well is we'll be doing a raised intersection at this location. That raised intersection will be concrete, and so it'll really highlight the safety aspects of this crossing. We'll also be doing something similar at the mid-block crossing to the north, which is right now in front of the elementary school that goes across to the church. That will also be basically look exactly the same as this, and it'll also be a raised concrete crossing there as well. So right now, where the city's at is we are kind of wrapping up the 90% plans on this, and we've identified locations where we'll need to acquire permanent easements and temporary construction easements in order to construct all the improvements within the right of way. So here's a good example. This picture was taken on 216th, just west of 11th Avenue. And you can see we've got the decorative street lighting, and then the wall kind of curves behind that street light. And so you'll see something similar to that on 24th Avenue. And to accomplish this and try and squeeze everything in the right of way, we'll be working with property owners, specifically on the east side of 24th, to gain those easements. So the project timeline, we've already completed 30% design. We're currently working with all the utilities, franchise utilities, to sort out a lot of utility conflicts. This has been a tough project with the just sheer number of utilities that are underneath the ground in this corridor, and aerially as well. It's been a difficult one. There's a few duct banks, there's water, sewer, stormwater. There's a lot of stuff underneath the ground in this corridor that's been difficult to work through. So we are that is ongoing right now. We're working through it as best as we can. So as I mentioned earlier, the 90% design, we are almost wrapped up with that. We should have that in early January. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be needing to do right-of-way acquisitions or temporary and permanent easements for the right-of-way, and that will start in early 2022 with the goal of construction in the summer of 2022. So on that, I will turn it over to Kai. We've got a roll plot that'll kind of show where we're at with our current design.
Right, thanks, Tommy. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, is my screen change to the row plot?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this row plot right here, basically just an aerial map with a more detailed layout of the improvement from the 24 projects. And let me zoom out here a little bit, kind of showing the project's limit. It's going from Candy Moyes Road to 223rd. And um, these are the raised enhanced like crosswalk that Tommy was talking about. One of it is at the intersection of South 226 and 24, and the other one is a mid-block crossing just north of Midway the elementary school. And kind of zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, so just want to kind of show the sort of like the cross section that we are proposing for 24 Avenue South with an added two-way left turn lane with new with bike lane, curb gutter, and sidewalk on both sides of the roadway. And the location of the sidewalks on the east side right here is approximately where we have open ditches kind of along the east side of 24 Avenue right now. Just kind of give you an idea of where the new sidewalks is going to be located. And these kind of bolded black line right here are the proposed location of the retaining wall is going to be on the east side. Do
Yeah,
you have any?
so
Yeah.
I'll jump on here for a second. We'll be doing a mix of basically grading and walls to fit this within the right of way. What we've run up against is especially on the east side of 24th, there's fairly steep slopes. And so in order to make all that work with these needed improvements, we'll need to do walls and as well as grading. So if you're a property owner, especially on the east side of 24th, we'll likely be getting in contact with you. We'll be out there willing to meet with anybody in the field to kind of help understand where these improvements will be and what we're looking at moving forward. So again, this is kind of just a pretty preliminary look at, especially at the driveways along the east side of this corridor. So yeah.
Yeah, with that, I think we would like to open up for any questions you might have.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
My name is Hans Pon. I'm a board member at Grace Lutheran Church. And currently there is some street parking on the west side of 24th Avenue, just to the east of the church parking lot. Will that street parking be eliminated?
Yes, that will be eliminated as part of the project. In order to facilitate the widening of 24th, the bike lanes and the sidewalk there, we'll need to remove that parking.
Will any of the new right-of-ways affect the parking lot of the church?
Kai, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe it will. Looking at the roll plot here, and from what I'm familiar with, I don't see any impacts there. I do know there's a row of trees there between the parking lot and 24th Avenue. And as part of PSE's relocation of their aerial facilities, I know those trees could be impacted, but that's really up to PSE. And I'm guessing that they'll be reaching out to you in the near future to discuss that.
One of our concerns is there are two driveways entering the church parking lot, and they're already fairly steep. If the road is widened at those points, will there be some mitigation of the steepness of those driveways?
Yeah, understood. I don't specifically know how those driveways will look with the project. What I will do though is I will jot that down, and I'll work with our design engineer to take a close look at those driveways.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
My name's Shannon. I have a couple of questions as well.
Yeah, please go ahead.
We live in the neighborhood across Kent Des Moines from here. And so one of my questions is, I know this starts at 24th at Kent Des Moines Road, but is there any thought to pedestrian improvement for the students who have to cross Kent Des Moines Road to go to the middle school, for example, who are walking? I don't know if there's any plan to address that intersection more broadly. And then my second question, which this may or may not be the appropriate forum, but it's frustrating when I see full-size semi trucks traveling down this stretch of road instead of catching it at 216th. And I don't think they belong here because this is a neighborhood. So I don't know if there's a way to sign this stretch so that they semis stay out of it. They don't belong here.
Yeah, understood on the semis. I'll take a look into that. That may be something that we can look into.
That would be great.
Yeah, I know we've had some issues, some similar issues like that before. So I will, again, I'll make another note on that and look into it. And then as to your question there on Kent Des Moines Road, so these improvements will address the curb ramps on the north side of Kent Des Moines Road.
Okay.
We aren't doing any improvements on the south side. One of the main reasons for that is future plans for Kent Des Moines Road show some significant improvements as part of a separate project.
Okay.
In that intersection. And at that point, that's when we would want to do improvements. We don't want to do any improvements on the south side that may have to be rebuilt just years down the road.
That's actually very encouraging because that's another problem spot is Kent Des Moines between Highway 99 and this intersection. So it's nice to hear you guys already have that on your radar as well.
Yeah, it's out there in our TIP projects. I will say that is a bit of a difficult stretch because there's a portion of Kent Des Moines Road that, if I'm remembering right, it's like half in Des Moines and half in Kent. So there's definitely some partnerships that need to be worked through on that one.
Okay. Overall, I'm very excited about this. I think this is going to be a huge improvement. So I'm really glad you guys are doing it.
Yeah, it'll look significantly different out there, and we're excited as well.
And how long do you anticipate the construction will take start to finish once you start next summer?
We're not quite sure on that yet.
Okay.
Once we get through kind of the 90% and to the 100% plans, we'll have a better idea of that. Also,
Okay.
we're still working with some of the utilities, trying to work on partnerships for the construction. So there could be some additional construction with those utilities that may extend the project longer than we're anticipating right now. So that's kind of a tough question to answer. But I can say that honestly, it will take a bit, and there is the potential that some of the final improvements, such as paving, could run into 2023.
Okay.
We're hopeful to try and get everything. The goal is to try and get everything done this summer, but we'll have to see how that turns out.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, my husband and I live on 24th Avenue South. We're watching right now, and we see our house looks like it's probably definitely one of the ones affected. There's a blue line right up our driveway that we're looking at right now. Can we assume? I mean, we only found out about this because of the flyer in the mail. Will that be the same way that someone may or may not reach out to us about the acquisitions going forward, or how would they get in touch with us? Just curious.
Yeah, so what I would say is probably the best way and the easiest way would be to shoot myself an email, and
Okay.
we can coordinate. Probably a lot easier to do that.
Okay, because yeah, it looks yeah, we're looking at our house right now. There's a big blue line up the driveway, so we're assuming that, you know, maybe some part of it or whatever. But absolutely, well, I'll do that after the meeting and give you our address and information. So to make that maybe a little bit easier when the time comes.
Sounds
Yeah,
great. Look forward to
and-
working with you.
Yeah, and yeah, just want to kind of add on that a little bit. I think Tommy's already mentioned as part of the presentation as well that we're willing to have a meeting with you like, out there and kind of just laid it out, you know, where the proposed improvement is going to be yeah, relatively to the existing like addition of your like frontage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I'll do that.
Awesome.
Can you share with us your email contact information that we might, if we have questions later on, that we can address them directly to you, please?
Yeah, sure. Kyle, bring that up on here. And also be sure to always check the website where you were able to access this meeting. It has our contact information on it as well.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we'll try and keep that updated throughout the project as well. So if you ever have any questions or kind of looking to see kind of where the project is currently at, it's a good place to take a look.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
no.
have the yeah, both Tommy and myself contact information here.
So I believe that's all we have to present, but I will be hanging out here till 7 o'clock. So if you have any further questions or anything you'd like us to go back and show again, feel free to.
Thank you both very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Tommy?
Yeah.
So the retaining wall, is it going to be the same material, the same basic look as 216th?
Let's see, can I go back to that slide there?
Yeah, let me try to. Oh.
Yeah, so I think it'll look a little different. I believe there's a little bit of a space that's going to be between the sidewalk and the wall. We've kind of had that up in the air. I'm not sure where that's landed recently. Kai, maybe you can.
Yeah, so it's yeah, the wall is it's gonna be like a few inches. There's gonna be a few inches gap between the back of the sidewalk and the wall. But in regard to the design and how the wall is going to look, it's gonna look similar to what we have along the 216. We have good success using that type of the retaining wall on previous project on the city. So we wanted to continue to use that same specification for this project.
Yeah, I've seen it in several places. It just, yeah. The other thing, if this is going to provide improvements to the flooding, right? I assume there's going to be more capacity for stormwater. Where's the outfall for that? Where does it head towards? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so there's a couple different drainages on this project. Maybe we can go back to the roll plot.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know the drainage in the area that's shown right now, that mostly goes down to Kent Des Moines. Everywhere north of 227 is going to be in a main trunk line that runs, will run on the east side of 24th, and then there's an existing
Yeah, I think it's somewhere here. That's a
further south at 227. There's an existing crossing that was put in years ago that will connect into. And so that trunk line runs across 24th and eventually makes its way down into the drainage again along Kent Des Moines Road. And then on the very north end of the project, that drainage runs down, I believe it is, yeah, it runs down 223rd.
So this may seem a little out there, but does any of that have any impact on any active streams in the area?
I'd have to get back to you on. So what we've done is we did a TIR, which looks at the drainage. And so our stormwater department took a look at that and they were comfortable with the plans here. These stormwater improvements have also been identified in this comprehensive stormwater plan. And so we're just implementing those projects as a part of our project.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you, sir.
okay. And Tommy, I believe this open house is recorded, and I think Bonnie will have a link somewhere that people can have access to.
You're reading my mind. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody has any more questions, again, feel free to ask. As Kai mentioned, we'll have the full virtual meeting uploaded for anybody to watch later that may have missed tonight's meeting.
Excuse me. Sorry, I missed the first part of the meeting, but has there been any indication from the Highline School District as to ingress and egress that is going to be required for the rebuilt Pacific Middle School?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've been working with a couple of representatives from the school district for the last couple of years now. I know that they proposed basically a full rebuild of Pacific Middle School. Maybe Kai, go a little south on your roll plot there. And so they are doing, as far as my understanding, there's going to be some substantial layout changes, especially of their parking lot. And I was hoping to work on a partnership with the school district to make any, well, to try and incorporate some of those layout changes with the project. But my understanding is their project there at Pacific Middle School has kind of been put on hold, or they're kind of in delay. And so this time they're just not at the point where they could partner with us for some of their on-site improvements. So we've kind of had to just push forward with our project. So what we're showing now is just basically tying into the existing driveways. And when the school does redevelop in the future, they would be required to adjust the sidewalk and the driveways to fit with their revised layout.
So their plans are not advanced enough to this point that they have any idea what they're going to do at the site?
I think they do, but we wouldn't be able to incorporate their driveway locations and have kind of interim use with their existing layout.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have another question, and I'm sorry, you may have answered this in the initial presentation, but there is the utilities in this place. In this case, the electrical utilities will be above ground. They're not going to be buried.
Correct. Yeah, as a part of this project, the utilities will stay aerially. PSE has proposed moving most of their facilities onto the west side of 24th Avenue. There will still be some service poles on the east side, especially for a lot of the homes. But yes, that is correct. The undergrounding, that cost would have been borne by the city. And at this time, we just don't have the budget to take that on. And that's, and I'll add on to that as well. So this project is funded primarily with Transportation Improvement Board funds. They were awarded as part of a $3.6 million grant. And so TIB matches our funding for improvements such as sidewalk and pedestrian improvements, which also goes for the roadway itself. But TIB does not recognize matching funds for undergrounding of utilities. So that cost, instead of a share with TIB, it would need to be fully funded by the city.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Is there going to be any 24th Avenue improvement from 223rd to 216? Or is it gonna just be to 213? I mean, 223rd?
Yeah, so this project is kind of a naming thing. This project itself from 223rd to Kent Des Moines Road was named as the segment 2 of the 24th Avenue corridor. Segment 1 is from, as you mentioned, 223rd to 216, and we have identified a project there for improvements in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Since we're here in a lull, I'll ask another question is, and again, I may have missed the original explanations, but will there be any improvements to the left turn signal coming off of Kent Des Moines Road onto 24th? Several residents have screamed literally you know, we need a left turn signal at 24th and Kent Des Moines Road.
Yeah, so hopefully Kai, you can bring that up. Yeah, so as part of the project, we'll be adding a left turn pocket there with associated improvements to the signal there to provide a left turn at that intersection.
And this is left turn off of Kent Des Moines Road, eastbound onto
Yeah.
24th.
Eastbound. This project will provide for a left turn pocket going southbound on 24th, and then eastbound onto Kent Des Moines Road.
To eastbound on Kent Des Moines Road, but I'm referring to the other quadrant. Coming east on Kent Des Moines Road to 24th, and then having a dedicated left turn signal to then proceed on to 24th. Whereas right now, it's like wait for endless traffic to possibly break, and sometimes through a cycle, there's only one vehicle that's able to get through.
I think I understand now. So there's not a protected left turn at Kent Des Moines Road onto northbound 24th. Yeah, that's something we can take a look into to see if that is warranted.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just mention again, since we're all just hanging out together on this Wednesday evening. Feel free to ask any other questions, or we'll throw it up there again. But my email and Kai's email. Always, if you have any questions going forward on the project, feel free to shoot us an email at any time.
Is there any concern with the right of ways needed with the residences? Is there any concern that could throw a monkey wrench in the project if somebody doesn't agree?
Yeah, that is always a concern that we have. And all we can do is work through it the best that we can. We'll be working with a right-of-way consultant for some of those negotiations. So, like I said, it is always a risk to the project schedule, but we hope that with the right-of-way that's needed, that hopefully we can work through those acquisitions as soon as possible to get the project going this summer. Most of these easements are fairly minor. I think the temporary construction easements, those will extend a bit further to the east. And I think you can kind of see in that dashed line where some of the typical temporary easements may be. For the permanent easements for the walls, those are fairly fairly small. We're only looking at needing a couple of feet, so hopefully those negotiations will go smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to kind of add onto what Tommy just said a little bit, trying to clarify that a little bit. The dashed line is that Tommy mentioned for the temporary construction easement is this black line, like right here. And the dashed blue line that you guys can see right here is the existing right-of-way line. And as you can see, you know, for the area, for example, let me just kind of use this property like right here. For the most part, we be able to fit the retaining wall within the right of way, but for the area that is require a decorative street light, the foundation, we have decided to create a bump out in the retaining wall to create more room for the decorative street light, instead of having that street light sit kind of in like within the sidewalk. So that additional room for that street light would require a permanent easement for it. Hence that little area outside of the right-of-way line there.
Yeah, we've done our best to try to incorporate all the improvements within the right of way, but especially with the grading on the east side of 24th, it's made it quite difficult. So we'd love to always be able to construct everything within the right of way and not have to go get any sort of permanent easements. But in this case, we've just ran into it's just kind of, it is what it is, and that's what we kind of run up against, is we need to gain or get some of those permanent easements in order to construct the sidewalk.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I assume so right now they've got those flashing lights that say when school's in session and the speed limit changes. I assume that's being retained as part of this process.
Yes, it will. We'll need to relocate that, obviously, to incorporate that with the sidewalk. But yes, the flashing beacons and the cameras will be retained as part of this project.
Thanks. I need to sign off, but again, I really appreciate your time and thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate your attendance, and we'll hopefully get this project constructed this summer.
Excellent. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, feel free to let me know if you guys would like me to kind of pan to a different area or zoom into a specific location as well.
These slides that you've shown us tonight, are they available on the website or in a hard copy in some manner?
On the project website, that kind of covers everything in the slides, but I'll see if we can add the presentation to the project website as well.
What I'd like to do is share some of those with the other board members so that they can have a visual, a better visual of what they can expect.
Okay, that sounds great.
Tommy, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry you're not getting paid by the hour, by the way. Could you explain for, those remaining, the strategy in moving the various poles to the west side and why, some service poles remain on the east?
Yeah, so I guess I'll have to go back a little in the history on this one. So currently, obviously, there's poles on both sides of the roadway there. We, in preliminary conversations with PSC, we basically went to PSC and said, hey, here's the city's improvements, and the existing poles are in the way of the proposed sidewalk. So PSC took a look at our plans, and it was really up to them. They were the ones who decided on relocating their facilities to the west side of the roadway. I think that was great news for us because it allowed us to consolidate all the street lighting to one side for a consistent corridor, and something that's going to look, what we were going for is trying to look better than maybe something on like 16th. 16th, you've kind of got a mix of aerial facilities on, I believe, both sides of the roadway there, and with lighting attached to the PSE poles. So it was really PSE's decision to go to the west side of the roadway there. And so that's kind of how we ended up there. The problem with the service poles is they're still needed to connect to those houses on the east side of 24th. So it's really up to PSE's design. What we told them is there's not room for their facilities then within the right of way on the east side of 24th. So any poles on that east side that are service poles, those will be actually on private property, and PSE will need to work with property owners to acquire any easements that they may need to put those poles over there.
Does this create any, I'm just blue skying here, any, future challenges for like Comcast or the 5G networks on the east side of that neighborhood?
Right. So we've coordinated with all our franchise utilities, which includes the other providers. And so what we found is they are working with PSE to attach their facilities onto PSE's new line through the corridor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any more good questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. All right, one last call for any questions anybody may have. All right, well, that wraps up tonight's virtual meeting for the 24th Avenue Improvements Project. I just want to say thank you to everybody for your attendance, and we look forward to working with you. And again, if you have any questions as the project moves forward, please feel free to shoot Kyer and I email. Our phone numbers are there also, so feel free to contact us anytime you'd like.
Thanks for your time, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.